Good evening and welcome. At this time, Ms. Harris will lead us in our invocation, and Mr. Lamb will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Gracious God, as a new school year begins, we ask your blessing over our teachers. Grant them courage, confidence, and the ability not only to teach, but to inspire a love for learning in our students. We pray for our students, that they may see a bright and hopeful future and be motivated to prepare well for it through their studies. Guide this board in wisdom as we make decisions and keep our schools safe, nurturing, and welcoming. May this year be filled with growth, encouragement, and opportunity for all. Amen.
Please stand with us. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, our first item of business is to approve our agenda from our last meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. At this time, Dr. Fletcher has some special recognitions.
So first off, I'm going to ask Miss Erica Williams. She's sitting in the back, or no, she's trying to upload something for us. She is our new PIO and grant writer, and we are so excited that she is here with us. So welcome her. She's from Transylvania County and is a proud graduate of Brevard High School. She also attended Brevard Elementary School, Pisgah Forest Elementary School, and Brevard Middle School. Erica earned her teaching licensure in middle grades English and a bachelor's in mass communication from the University of North Carolina at Asheville. After student teaching at Rossman Middle School and graduating from UNCA, Erica worked as the North Carolina reporter for a national publication focusing on legal and political matters. She went on to work for the Charlotte television station WCMC as a digital content producer and assignment desk editor. We are extremely proud to announce that Erica is both an Emmy-nominated journalist and an Edward R. Murrow Award recipient for excellence in digital storytelling. And if you've been looking at our social media, you can tell that we have some digital storytelling going on right now with some videos. Outside of work, Erica enjoys hiking with her dogs, mountain biking with her husband, nature photography, and strumming the banjo. This is another accomplishment in the making. Maybe you can teach me. I've been trying for years. Please join us in welcoming Erica. Now next, we want to recognize the Historic Toxaway Foundation and the Grand Old Station Restaurant. Each year, Transylvania County Schools administrators and leaders participate in a summer retreat, which just allows them to plan and we prepare for the upcoming school year. For all the updates that we've received from the state throughout the summer, and we also use our data at that time to plan for the next year. So for the past 2 years, the retreat has been held at the Grand Old Station Restaurant and has been fully sponsored by the Historic Toxaway Foundation through the coordination of Mr. Nori LeBrun. The Historic Toxaway Foundation was established in 2017, and its members participate in a variety of local causes relating to conservation, tourism, historic preservation, workforce housing, and education. The Grand Old Station, located at 502 Blue Ridge Road, is a premier restaurant that uses locally sourced ingredients from small business farms while paying homage to the history and splendor of Lake Toxaway. We thank the Historic Toxaway Foundation and the Grand Old Station Restaurant, whose continued generosity provides TCS administration with a wonderful opportunity to collaborate and improve. And it is very peaceful when you're sitting there and look out and just see water. It's very nice, so we're thankful of that. And then we have a lot of organizations and people to thank for some beautifications of our campuses. Several of our schools underwent beautification projects while others received supply donations, all of which help prepare us welcome our students back for a successful school year. We sincerely thank Biltmore Church, Blue Ridge RV Resort, Carolina Energy Systems, and Aaron Blythe, First Baptist Church of Brevard, Ken Jones Custodial, Newbie and Neighbors Club of Conisty Falls, Transylvania County Education Coalition, Young Life, and Table Church, and all of the individual volunteers. We are fortunate to be part of such a philanthropic community. Please take a moment to check out our school Facebook pages, where you will find additional information and photos memorializing some of the volunteer-driven projects. And if we left anyone out, it was a mistake, and know that you are that. And now we're going to recognize our own school nutrition. Our summer serving. Ms. Jeanette Broden, the school nutrition department, have been actively serving our community through the summer food service program, ensuring that children have continued access to nutritious meals while school is out. Meals have been provided in a variety of ways, including mobile home deliveries, daily pickup sites, partnerships with several summer day camps across the county. Summer meals were made available starting June the 9th, which was the first day of summer break, and continued through Friday, August the 22nd, the last day of our summer break. To date, they have served over 18,000 breakfasts, 26,000 lunches, and 6,000 snacks. So good job, Ms. Broden. In addition, on July the 7th and 10th, approximately 900 bags of food, including fresh produce, were distributed to 150 children in our community through the Backpack Buddy program. This initiative was made possible thanks to the support of volunteers from First United Methodist Church, Eastport Baptist Church, and Grace Brevard Church, in collaboration with the school nutrition department and our school social workers. Looking ahead, we are pleased to announce that Transylvania County Schools will continue to offer meals at no cost to all students throughout the 25-26 school year. So please join us in recognizing our school nutrition department, our school social workers, and all the hardworking volunteers at First United Methodist, Eastport Baptist, and Grace Brevard churches for providing these services that are so vital to our community and especially our students. Thank you, guys.
And now, Teacher Allison will give us a joint school bond project update.
Good evening, Board of Education members. The county and Transylvania County school staff continue to work closely on the projects. This partnership is instrumental in project success. I feel the momentum and I am looking forward to the future impact. Now for the updated county-led project status report. You have a copy of the monthly project report for this update. The Education Capital Subcommittee approved the report format at their meeting in June, and I will be providing these reports to the Board of Education and the Board of Commissioners monthly. Project work will continue coordinating with Transylvania County school staff as we look ahead towards school starting back. I know we are all happy to see the progress happening. We continue to gain ground since the interlocal agreement was established last February this year. Thanks again to everyone's hard work on this. Now for the underground storage tank project update. The unused underground storage tank project has been completed for the Brevard area schools. The Rosman High underground storage tank damaged and testing will be replaced currently still in October due to lead time on ordering. The above ground temporary tank remains in place. We are coordinating with Transylvania County school staff to make that replacement as smooth as possible so that everything is ready for the November heating season. We have a follow-up meeting on site with the geotech firm and insurance adjuster this week. The The rest of the active Rosamond tanks will be done summer of 2026 in coordination with Rosamond area scope. These are tanks that remain in use due to utility availability. Now for the Brevard area scope number 1 project update. Brevard area scope number 1, otherwise known as Brevard Old Gym, wood decking is expected to be completed and have weather barrier in the next few days. TPO roofing will start going on as soon as that is completed. Rainy weather has slowed progress, but the general contractor trades are working efficiently. Expected completion is end of November due to the weather impacts and flooring prep. The general contractor has completed structural support steelwork and is focused on the lobby area to be ready for mechanical units installed on top of the lobby roof. The general contractor is coordinating getting work done in that area as much as possible to coordinate with Transfer County School activities and student body increasing with the school starting back. Strict communication to stay out of the general contractor work zone is paramount for safety and for the steady progress with timeline. The general contractor will be starting brick repointing, window install, electrical roughing, and siding within the next week. Coordination between the general contractor and separate flooring contractor work is underway. Now for the larger scope projects, which are BHS scope number 2, Brevard High School and Plant Operations buildings, Rosamond area scope, which is TC Henderson, Rosamond Elementary, Rosamond Middle and High School, Brevard area scope, which is Davis River School, Pisgah Forest Elementary, Brevard Elementary, and Brevard Middle School. The architect and the design team continues to review historical documents and identify any need for additional evaluation for Brevard High School scope number 2, Rosamond area scope, and Brevard area scope projects. 3D scanning was completed at all schools, and 3D modeling of step 1 of the educational capital improvement project scopes will be completed by mid-September. Security vestibule design work has begun. Ground penetrating radar scanning has been completed at Rosamond High School, Old Gym, and Rosamond Elementary School. As mentioned last update, these pre-design steps are important to refine the budget for the existing scope of work and to identify anything the architects and engineers recommend revising. The subcommittee will consider any changes to scope that are within the budget as outlined in the interlocal agreement. Based on the emergency statutes, we move forward on Brevard High School scope number 2 for the EC wing roof replacement work due to the conditions out there. Pre-construction and start date was August 11th. Big thanks to our design team for expediting drawings for permit and helping the county push forward with this needed emergency repair project. Now for the Rosamond retaining wall and Rosamond area old gym scope project. I am coordinating with Transfer County School staff to conduct any additional site assessment requests by the architect and engineers at the Rosamond retaining wall and Rosamond area old gym scope. Site assessments have included stormwater testing at Rosamond High School in July. The architect and engineer team has done additional ground penetrating radar scanning due diligence needed to complete structural evaluation of the old gym site at Rosamond High School. The architect has provided an estimated time of completion of the geotechnical investigation for early October, but working to get that to us as quickly as possible. Now for the Rosamond Elementary School site evaluation. That's also ongoing. The architect's geotechnical firm currently are working on site evaluations, including doing interior borings this week. Ground penetrating radar scanning was completed last week. The interior boring work will be completed by the end of this week. And coordinating with Transfer County School staff, custodians, and team, with all coordinating with them to work with them. I know the teachers are back this week and it's gone well, and I really appreciate everybody seeing that this is a good thing to gather the extra data needed. The architect has provided an estimated time of completion of the geotechnical investigation for early October, but working to get that to us as quickly as possible. Architects and engineers are working closely with us to make sure the goal of addressing the most critical building envelope, that's roofs and exteriors and mechanical systems, remain top priority while being conscious of the budget. We all know for an overall healthy life of the school buildings, these items must take priority. The Education Capital Project Subcommittee will meet on August 27th and review construction manager at risk request for qualifications and discuss selection of the construction manager at risk. Construction manager at risk contracts are anticipated in September. Is there any questions?
So there's a big difference between being in budget and on budget. If we have a budget for $1 million and you've got $900,000 spent, we're still in budget, but we might have another $500,000 to be spent. So where are we against plan for budgetary expenditure?
That'll all be reviewed in the subcommittee meeting. Jamie, if you want to say something.
That will be, we will review that with the subcommittee meeting, but by statute, we cannot go beyond the project budget. So we would not be able to report to you that we were in budget if we were not in total in budget, because we can't authorize work beyond that.
And where are we within schedule?
We are still within the same schedule. The only lapse we have had is the 1 month that Beecher just reported for the old gym at Barn High School. And that's due to rate delays.
So when we see on here, it says in budget, we can assume it means it's the amount spent that equals the percent complete.
It won't always equal the percent complete because there's different cost factors that come in at different times. So on the original scopes of work, there was a total budget number, and what it reflects is that the project is within that number. If there was going to be any change to that, we actually have to get pre-approval before we can sign a contract. So every time we sign a contract, we're obligating funds from those budgets.
So how does the committee know, I mean, how do you foresee, I mean, you don't want to get like, okay, we're in budget, oops,
Yes.
we're completely out of budget.
Yep.
How do you, is somebody tracking that?
Yes, we track that internally, but the other piece of that is because there are those controls in place. So every time a contract comes in, it has to be pre-audited by the finance director and then signed off by the authority. So in my case, it would be me. In your case, it would be Dr. Fletcher. And so, but we've also had Lisa, I think, also pre-auditing as well. So we've actually had both finance directors pre-auditing. But every time we sign a contract, that money has to be secured. And if there's any potential for change orders, we always have a contingency budget in there. But anytime anything's going to go over that budget, we have to stop and go back for additional authority. And that would actually come back to the two boards if it were going to change the scope project. One thing that we will see with the CMAR coming on board is that they will work with the architect on each of those scopes and basically confirm that those numbers are good. So it will be an opportunity to revise if we need to. But those scopes were designed to have built-in inflation and also the fact that they're renovation projects, so they do have unforeseen line items in order to be able to make that budget work. Any other questions?
What do we see as current risks in terms of impacting project outside of the weather controls?
The other major risks I briefly alluded to, like coordination with student activities and making sure that there's a separation between the general contractor's work and the second flooring contractor with the school activities forthcoming. There's been a lot of pre-planning. Carrie's been out for a couple of pre-meetings with coordination, done a lot of things to already get ahead of everybody knows those kids are coming back next week for class instruction. The general contractor is working on getting all his equipment as soon as possible to minimize the time where the main junctions are, where all the kids are crossing through, to give space back as soon as possible. And when he says it's safe on his end, we're coordinating with the schools on that. So there's been conversations. We have our progress meetings out there every other week. And we've gained a lot of ground trying to get ahead of some of that. But
How many parking spaces did we lose for the laydown area?
it was a good 20 probably overall that we ended up losing. But that's all part of the process. Again, like I reported, the TPO roofing takes up over half of that, the materials, and they are in the process of getting up to the ridge as of today and getting the waterproofing over top of the wood decking, and then they will start immediately with the TPO roofing as soon as they can. So there's more material that comes up, then there's more conversation that can be had. But as of this time right now, it's got to be what it's got to be for safety.
Do we have any fencing or other protective barriers set in place
Yes.
to prevent student access into those areas?
Yes, the general contractor has perimeter fencing, and they try to close the gates at the end of their workday. The safety plan for the construction signage is out there to help with getting the message out to the, generally the staff and teachers, principal for sure. They're really helping and teaming with us, but it's more geared for the students, so they realize that they can't just willy-nilly walk right through the construction site.
The reason I'm asking is looking through the pictures that I see here, and I don't see any signage for hard hat areas or restricted access or anything like that, so.
Right, it's the roofing kind of blocks the fence, as you can see in that first one, and that one, it's kind of a long distance photo, but usually at the main entrances where people come in and out of the sites, is where he's got the hard hat photo or signage and construction personnel only.
The safety planning has to be signed off by the architect, and there are actually PPI guidelines on those safety plans, and then it is up to the contractor to implement those plans on site. So we are there to be able to observe and point out any concerns that we may have, but ultimately those plans are with those professionals.
That was reviewed in the pre-construction meeting on site as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Is there any significant delta from the previous month's estimates that we see here? Because one of the things that I don't see in this report is changes to the report. So there's no highlighting, there's no evidence of this is a snapshot, there's no comparison to the previous. So in my experience, again, as a commercial contractor, I would have to present what changes are annotated here versus the previous month. So you might want to consider.
We're providing these monthly, and they're available to the public as well. So they're timestamped, they're actually dated at the top. And so we won't be trying to highlight changes just because I think it'll get very confusing. But we do have the ability to date those and provide that history over time. So you'll be getting a copy every time one's issued.
And where are they available to the public?
They're available to the public actually in the meetings. We've been showing them in the meetings, and we have provided copies as well. But we can make them available on the website.
I thought that was one of the things that we said we were going to be doing was publishing progress on the website so that
Yes,
the
we
whole
are.
community would see it.
Part of that is presentation in both meetings. So we are presenting in this meeting monthly, we're presenting in the commissioner meeting monthly. We are providing those reports in both of those public settings. So we are providing that update as was articulated in our local agreement. And the subcommittee is also receiving their updates. And those are also.
Like I said, I thought one of the things that we said we would do was publish this information on the website so that it would be available for all parties to see, not just in this meeting. And obviously today we're having an issue with live streaming, so it'll be a delayed presence for people to see it. So
The interlocal agreement did not say that, so we can provide that if you would like, but that was not part of the interlocal agreement. We are following the interlocal agreement for all of the details that were ironed out on communication. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, Tucker will give us an update on Rosamond Elementary Playground and the Rosamond football field.
Good evening. Just going to throw in there real quick too, just a side note on the construction going on at the old gym. We've also taken some time this summer to cut a new entrance in the back of the stadium, which will help with ball games and that kind of thing, because traffic right there at that main gate is going to be moving. So there's been a lot of work done in trying to expedite some security and safety as we get into starting our sports season coming up. So just adding that in there, in case you want to know that as well. Rosamond Elementary School playground is off schedule probably a couple of weeks with some weather and some permitting issues, but permits have been issued and they are working on mobilizing and getting here and starting to work. So not a lot of update there, but the progress is being made. I think it's important. I think Mr. Dinsdale said it once before, but also I think there's been some concern about Brevard Elementary School got theirs done, and where's Rosamond at? But take in mind that all of the equipment at Rosamond Elementary School is custom made. So they ordered very specific equipment to go on their field and have all new equipment. So that's had to be made and delivered. Where Brevard Elementary School, they didn't have any custom equipment. It was just swing sets and ground material covered. So, and they took stock colors and stock everything else. So there was a little difference in apples and oranges there being compared. So I want to make sure if you had any questions about that. Brevard Elementary School, we did a walkthrough last Wednesday. It was not up to my standard. The material was done good. The equipment was installed good. The cleanup was not where I wanted it. So evidently they've worked hard over Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday. And I'll be walking that facility tomorrow after convocation to see if it's complete or not to our standard. Rosamond High School football field. I want to take a quick minute. I got to do this. Probably not on the agenda. Probably I got to say this, but we're a little off schedule there. The field's ready to be played. We can play a game tomorrow. Not the problem. Did a punch list about last Wednesday with the second walkthrough, not a final walkthrough. Had a list of 14 things. By Thursday afternoon, we discovered a problem that had been created by one of the subcontractors and the electrician, and that problem was completely finished and resolved today thanks to a lot of our local guys who are in construction, and I want to give them a big shout out. Noah Compton with CNS Plumbing worked pretty much a 16-hour day Thursday and got us back online for the field house before he left about 8:30 that night. So big hat off to CNS Plumbing. Jeff Owen Concrete reported a section of concrete that had to be sawed out last week, and that should be finished and drying right now. And CMC Landscaping with Courtney Cheek, and it's also going to be contracted out with them because one of the things they're running into, and we can all see it this summer, is rain, dry weather, rain, dry weather. So by the time they mobilize to come back and do some of their fine grading of landscaping considerations, like outside the fence, areas that you can't just move mud, like you have to wait for it to dry and you gotta be able to rake it and clean it up. So by the time they get in the trucks and mobilize up here, it rains on them all the way up here and then it don't stop. And so they sit here for a day. So kudos off to Geo. They've actually stepped up to the plate and went out and contracted with Courtney and his company, and they were actually up there today because it was dry and able to start getting some work done. So that's pretty much Rosamond High School football field. I think I covered it all in a nutshell, but trying to not take too much time, so.
And I just want to add, Mr. Dinsdale knew that his playground would not be ready before the first day before we signed the contract. He was aware of that.
Yeah, it was more like in September. And so I'm optimistic once they get going there too, that they'll be able to kind of expedite that process.
At Roslyn, was that where the line got crushed?
Yes, and cut by a ditch witch you can depend on who you want to point the finger at, but it was obviously a sub or the electrician.
What's done is done.
What's done is done, and what we found out was, it actually ran across the very corner. So what's happened now is and to Geo's credit, I'll give them a shout out as well, they did not have to take my recommendation. All they had to do was simply fix whatever section was broken, which was not really satisfactory to me, but they only had to fix what they broke. I recommended taking a smaller section of concrete up, turning that pipe 45 degrees off of that field, outside the fence, run down the fence, and then tie back in. So that solves two problems for them. One, if it has a problem again, I don't call them, I call the city of Rosamond. Or they could have done it their way and I could call them back in 3 months. So that line is now outside, pretty much outside the stadium fence. So kudos to them, they took the suggestion and they ran with it, and we got it all tied back together and done.
Mr. Putnam, can you clarify for us in the community who all is going to be using that field? Is it only one team or one sport? Or
So you'll have the JV football team, the varsity football team, the youth leagues, multiple teams. I can't say, probably 4 or 5 different team divisions through there all day Saturdays. There's a soccer group growing at Rosamond Elementary that will and has requested the use of it. And then I'm sure there will be other facets going on. If you haven't had a chance to go look at it, I'd say it's going to be probably a focal point for the town on different events that they'll host and do things.
So maybe our PIO could send a letter to the Transylvania Times and suggest a correction? Because I don't know how many of you read that article about the football field.
I got about 3/4 of the way, took a deep breath, but
Okay, somebody should clarify that because that was absolutely not accurate.
and I do not have final numbers. So to give an estimate of whether we're going to be over budget or under budget, I'm anticipating being under budget. But I don't have those final pay apps, and I'm not signing off on a final pay app until all the work's done to my satisfaction. So until I get those final pay apps in and I can calculate totals, that information's not there. And
I was referring to the number of people that are teams or whatever that are going to be using it. It made it sound like it's going to sit empty, except for some rare occasions. That wasn't accurate at all.
It is actually designed for multi-purpose during the day too. So they've got a 10-foot sidewalk all the way around that they can go out there and run track. I mean, they're primarily looking at that as where they're going to practice their track and that stuff too, because they don't have a physical track, but they can at least get a big circle. So there's a lot more use there than.
Well, you know that, like in baseball and softball, as much rain as you have, I mean, you have it this spring too, both teams can practice on there at the same time.
That's right.
Track can practice their field events at the same time. If you get a soccer team, you've got there's so many things that will go on there that people have no idea.
Band can do walkthroughs where they're writing out performances.
And do marching band stuff, competitions if they want to host it.
Anything else? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the next item is the approval of the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from our July 21st meeting, both the regular and closed sessions, and personnel report for today. Do I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we approve the agenda with the scrivener's error, which I now know is a typo, that we talked about at the beginning of the, I mentioned it to myself.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? At this time, Dr. Fletcher will go over some whole business.
So I just want to let you know how we've been working on the strategic plan. Of course, we're not back in school yet, so that doesn't mean that the educators haven't been working. And any of you here tonight, we do have some copies out there on the table. Feel free to take those, or you can scan the QR code. But one thing to know is that every classroom will soon have the one pager, which is the mission and the vision, and basically our 4 goals on there, just so it stays not just on the shelf, but something that's always visible and on our minds to the staff and students. Tom Sweet is also building a dashboard that will track our progress as we do benchmark testing. Some goals, like the number of students in an internship, will only be updated twice a year because they enroll at the beginning of the semester, and that number should stay consistent for that semester. And then second semester, we can update it with those in second semester. The academic benchmarks, they will be updated quarterly because that's when the students take those. And once we get everything worked out, we will have that available to the public on our website with a strategic plan so that everyone can see how we're progressing. So we're excited about that. And the full plan, like I said, there's copies out there, but it's on our website. And I would like to say that the State Board of Education and Superintendent Green, the state strategic plan was approved at their last meeting. And I think that we are aligned very well with the state. And one thing that I like that Superintendent Green stated in the front of the plan, that to be clear, to be the best is the only option. And I think that's what every school system in North Carolina strives for. And so we know, we said it before, if you settle for good, you'll never be great. So we're going to keep working. And that's the strategic plan update. Any questions on that? And where we are?
Do we have a plan for what the review schedule will be? Like, will we have a segment on the agenda every month?
We can have it monthly, and it can just tell you what we're working, but it would be quarterly before you actually had hard data.
For the day, so the data review would be quarterly, but we'll get little progress reports about what's going on.
Affordable housing.
I can. So I want to talk about affordable housing for just a minute, like where we are, or teacher housing, and then I'll ask our attorney, Anna, if she can also weigh in on that. But after last month's meeting, I want you to know that Melissa, Miss Levine, actually found a document from 2001. And that was where a sub-ground survey was completed on the property, because this was, I think superintendent then was Dr. Holliday. The board approved for him to start, I guess, researching affordable housing or teacher housing on that land. And those sub-ground tests found groundwater from anywhere from 2 inches to 14 inches over the entire property. So that was something that I had not seen or I had found, and as she was trying to find some old information for me, she found that. But I also want to talk about the agriculture, because I know that there was a concern last meeting about the ag and how if they lose the ability to get hay, how that could affect their program. I reached out to Mr. Putnam, and of course he can answer any questions. But he estimates that for the plant science program, we would lose about $1,200 to $1,500 in profits from sales. And for the animal science program, he estimates we could, and that's where they store the hay for their cattle, we could lose between $6,500 and $8,000 a year, depending on how many head of cattle we keep. But he told us, Mr. Putnam said that there is another field that a family allows the agriculture program to mow and bale the hay, and he thinks as long as that continues, both programs would be okay. And then I'm going to ask Anna to talk a little bit about the legislature with this.
dashboard, making sure that was turned on, because it wasn't. So I went back and pulled the session law, which was 2009-154, and that is what approved the creation of affordable housing within Transylvania County for school teachers specifically. This law gave the school board and the county, as well as the town of Rossman and the city of Brevard, the ability to create a land trust in order to build affordable housing specifically to house school teachers and other county and city employees. And so functioning within that sort of body, you guys do have the ability to lease the property if you so choose to a land trust and then go through the development. This does allow for the development or construction of leasable properties or properties for sale for that matter on here. Though I would certainly want some time to talk to you guys before you make a final decision on that. But yeah, so you have a statute that has been on the books since 2009 that allows you to move forward with a land trust option to do that.
And I want to correct something I said. It was 2 feet to 14 feet, not 2 inches to 14 inches. So I typed that up over looking at the reports. But I have still been talking. I did meet with the land trust last week. They are interested in possibly leasing that and doing something. I will meet with some others this week and continue, and then hopefully have a recommendation for you guys next month on what we should do with that property regarding housing.
So do you have a recommendation? We need to make a motion for this time? Okay. So, yeah. Policy code.
So just an update and a reminder, as school begins to start, I know Dr. Weaver can chime in at any time if he needs to about the cell phones. During the day, cell phones and smart devices must be off and put away. This is from the very first bell of the morning till the dismissal bell in the afternoon. So parents, if you need to reach your child during the day, you can call the office and a message will get to them. And the policy will keep students focused and safe, and it aligns with the state guidance and the new law. And we have a nice question and answer. A nice question and answer that is, we've been out on social media and it's also on our website that can help with any concerns that parents have. I know there was concern that their child couldn't have their phone. They can have their phone, but it has to be put away and turned off.
We've had some other counties that have.
Yes, there was at least one other county who actually used our policy as theirs to begin the new year too.
Okay, actually, I have a question. We don't have a policy yet, right?
Right. We are waiting for the School Boards Association to give us the new policy. So what we do is just basically like a directive to go ahead and put in place what we know is law. The law is there.
Any other questions? Okay, at this time, Courtney Owen will give us an update on the school's mental health plan.
Good evening. I'm Courtney Owen, Director of Student Services. And every 5 years, I'm required to present my school mental health plan to you. I believe that was already emailed to you. And so this is just really a snapshot because I don't think you want me to sit up here and read a 6-page plan. So just to go over some of our stats. So we are starting the school year with 11 school counselors, 4 school social workers, 1 school-based therapist. That means it's a therapist who is employed by Transylvania County Schools. 4 Blue Ridge Health therapists. That means that those are 4 therapists employed by Blue Ridge Health. 1 SRO in every single one of our schools. 3 school nurses and 1 dropout prevention coordinator. Looking at my mission for school mental health, I looked at our strategic plan and took pieces of that when thinking about our vision. It is, we are committed to promoting mental wellness and social emotional growth through safe, inviting, and empowering learning environments, laying the foundation for academic achievement and lifelong well-being. some data points for you.
I've seen this play out in your school before.
Sorry.
You need to address the students.
Sorry, I clicked on something and it brought the plan up with the video
It's fine.
describing it.
I couldn't figure out where that was coming from. Okay, so that first graph that you see looks at student suicides, student suicide attempts, and suicide assessments. These are suicide assessments that are done within TCS staff. So this doesn't count suicide assessments that may be done by Blue Ridge Health or may be done by an outside provider. As you can see, we are trending down in all of our categories, which I'm very proud of, with the exception of suicide attempts. My guesstimate there of why we have increased with that is because students are becoming more comfortable with sharing that information. Parents are becoming more comfortable with sharing that information so that when students return to school following a suicide attempt, we can make the best plan to support that student at school. Below that is the TCS substance abuse offenses. You guys saw that from me, I believe, in February. Happy to report there were no more incidences after I reported to you. So another trend down. And the reason that I included substance abuse offenses in the mental health plan is because we know that students who have substance abuse offenses or addictions are more likely to experience mental health concerns like anxiety and depression. So new regarding mental health for 2025-2026 school year, I'm very excited about this. Part of our strategic plan is to increase partnerships regarding mental health, so mental health partnerships. I'm happy to report I've already met one of those. So already meeting goals in that strategic plan, Ms. Harris. One of our new things is we have a partnership with North Carolina Center for Resiliency. This is led by Carrie Norris. This is a very a wonderful program, free to TCS, and it will bring in staff to look at our discipline strategies, how we respond to discipline, giving teachers the power to keep students in their classroom, to make modifications to allow those students to be successful in the classroom. So making sure we're strategic in how we're responding to students, how we're responding to parents, how administrators are responding to students and parents to be fair and equal. Partnership with NC PALS. This is one I'm very excited about. I recently started a collaboration with NC PALS, which is a team out of Duke. And on that team is a psychologist, a nurse, and a social worker who have experience working in schools. So what we're able to do is my team, the student services team, is we are able to staff cases with this NC PALS team. So let's say I have a student who's having a really hard time in PE. We're seeing a lot of behaviors, a lot of just disruption to other students. I can take that case, obviously keep it confidential because I'm not sharing student information with this team to identify that student, and then they will come back with strategies that they have found useful. And they have the training. So they're a psychologist, a nurse, a social worker that's worked as a therapist. So I'm very excited to just keep that knowledge coming, keep more experience coming into our team. They also have access to resources. So one thing that we really have trouble in our county is access to psychologists and psychiatrists, specifically when diagnosing, which as a school we're not doing that, but parents are often asking us for those resources. And NC PALS is able to provide us with some of those resources. So very excited about that. Something else I'm excited about is Olveus Bullying Prevention Program. We are going to roll this out in November of this year using grant funds from our Center for Safe Schools grant that we received. We will have 1 to 2 people from each of our schools trained in this program, and then we will work on this year to implement a strategy to roll it out in 26-27. So this is not just a program. Again, it's a way to respond to bullying within our schools as a preventative measure, but also a responsive measure. It includes families and communities so that we can all be on the same page. Increase in Blue Ridge Health therapists. We already have 1 new Blue Ridge Health therapist starting at Pisgah Forest Elementary in September, so excited about that. Increase in student support at Brevard High School. We were able to use funds that we received from Helene to be able to put a therapist at Brevard High School who is just focusing on student mental health with parent permission. So very excited to have her at Brevard High School this year, really focusing on some of our most at-risk groups. Freshman mentoring program at BHS. This is really led by Melinda Stinson, AP at Brevard High School, in collaboration with TC Strong and Care Coalition and Spark Point. Very excited about this. When I look at years of data, I see that our entering freshman class often has the most suicide assessments, the most visits to the school counseling office. And so we know that's a very difficult transition year. And so I'm really focused on putting some supports in place, that increase in therapists, and also this freshman mentoring program I think will really help. Another addition, increase in staff professional development opportunities. This is something I really wanted to focus on, and we're hearing from our staff this is what they're wanting. So on October 3rd, we have a whole staff professional development day, and we have a few sessions on mental health that our outside presenters are coming in to give that. And then I have student services will have their own day on October 3rd just for PD for them. So very excited about that. My last thing that's new this year is an in-depth data collection. So DPI is now requiring that I submit annually a very intense data deep dive. Looking at the number of students that we see for anxiety, for depression, for needs. So let's say a student comes to us needing clothing or food at home. So I will be able to show some of that data to you guys if you want to see that. I'm very excited about that. That's a load on student support staff, and one that I'm not excited to share with them on Wednesday, but I think it will be helpful to see trends and to see where our strengths and weaknesses are. Okay, what questions do you have for me?
I just have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any programs at Roslyn? Anything going on?
So Old Bayes will be at Rosman. Center for Resiliency, they are focused really at Brevard Elementary and Brevard Middle School because that is where we targeted. However, they're still getting the training. So we are going to roll out North Carolina Center for Resiliency at those two Brevard schools and then move it up. The Old Bayes definitely freshman mentoring. Sarah Schauber, the school counselor, is doing some really cool things with mentoring with the younger populations. So yes, not as much, but yes. Thank you for asking.
Is there any other questions?
What is our definition of bullying?
So I will say what I think and what I have always told my students. Bullying is habitual. So there's a difference in mean and bullying. Mean is, let's say you said, Courtney, I do not like that shirt you're wearing. That's mean. Bullying is when every single day or maybe multiple times in a month you say, Courtney, I do not like your shirt. I do not like your pants. So it's habitual, it's ongoing, it's targeted. That's what we teach students, and that's what I believe it is. But let me also elaborate on the Old Bayes. So it's not just looking at bullying. So it's also looking at how we just communicate as a person, just using kind words with one another on the playground or at recess. I know when I worked at the elementary school as a school counselor, loved it, and a lot of students could use some support on how we talk to our peers. And so I think it's also looking at that.
Just also to add to that, Ms. Harris, bullying is defined in our policies as well.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we have the grant application.
So what I'm coming to you for tonight is just permission to write the grant. It actually came out today, and it is due October the 3rd. It's always a really quick turnaround. Last year it was a quick turnaround. So here's what I would like to request through the grants. Number one, a new cafeteria at Brevard High. I would like to, in that grant, write a new cafeteria, which is sort of how I wrote it last year, but last year I wrote it in conjunction with the old gym. And I would like to then do a new wing for CTE and possibly science classrooms. The science classrooms are not up to DPI standards. I believe the last time, that is the newest wing, and that was from 2000. But I don't know if their square footage is up to what DPI recommends. I know in our CTE, all but 2 classrooms are smaller than what DPI recommends. And as Mr. Putnam has said, we can't even, it's not wired or sized to handle any of the new programs or any new machinery out there. And if we're going to teach kids to be ready to go out and work, we need to have some hands-on available for them. So I'd like to do a wing with the CTE, look at the EC as it goes down that wing too, to see if they also need to be expanded. And if you turn it, like right now it's horizontal, if you turn it vertical, that would prevent, it would give you an extra barrier to the outside, because right now, as you know, as you drive through the parking lot, you can see in the borders, that would also then be a safety net, I believe, to the school. And then finally, I would propose consolidating Davis River School into a school within a school model at Vermont High School campus. The Davidson River would have its own separate wing. It would still be a separate school. It'd have its own entrance and exit. The students there would have access to the CTE courses. And I think that that's needed, and they have more opportunities to earn credentials than what's currently available at Davidson River. The students that are involved in the rebound program, which is those students who are involved with juvenile justice, would stay involved in the rebound program. They would participate in the other classes until they met those requirements before they could transition into any CTE or other courses, theater, music, that is there. That would still keep that small class size that some students need and that personalized support that the students at Davidson River have. It would just provide more opportunity for those students. And that is how I would like to write the grant. Because I would like to bring the grant back to you at our meeting in September. You all have to approve it, but then the commissioners have to approve it as well. And that would give time to get at their last meeting in September and get into DPI before the October 3rd deadline.
So last time, this whole issue of what tier county we are was an issue, and, right?
That's one of the points, that you get more points if you're tier 1, but I can say that tier 2s last year, Swain County received it, they're a tier 2, Jackson County received it, they're a tier 2, so tier 2 counties can receive it.
We're tier 2
We're tier
right
2
now.
right now.
Do I have a motion to approve?
You feel comfortable with what I would like to write the grant for?
Motion to approve. I'll second.
Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's time for public comment. Ms. Alice, do I need to read the directions?
I know that.
Okay, Ms. Alice, you're first.
I missed several board meetings during the winter months and didn't hear the rationale for putting public comment at the end of the meeting, so excuse my ignorance, but I don't understand the change. Why do citizens have to stay for the entire meeting before having the opportunity to make a public comment? It only makes sense if the point of the change is to make it more difficult to make public comment. I mean, I myself have had a comment prepared, but I was unable to stay for the entire meeting, so I didn't get to say it. We all know when the meeting starts, and nobody knows where it will end. It really comes across as suppressing public comment by setting up an inappropriate barrier. The point could be to allow citizens to make comment on current business, but that doesn't work if you have to sign up at the beginning of the meeting to speak at the end. And besides, most of us, including me, prepare our comments in advance rather than getting up and speaking extemporaneously. The commissioners do public comment right, a time at the beginning of the meeting that requires a sign up, and a time at the end of the meeting for anybody who wants to get up and speak. That was true here when I was on the board. Please consider returning to the usual practice of offering public comment at the beginning of the meeting. If speakers choose to leave after making their comment, that is their decision. Public comment at the end of the meeting simply protects board members from having to listen to citizen opinions, and that's not right. Thank you.
Good evening, school board members, Superintendent Fletcher, and staff. We are only 30 days away from Constitution Day and the kickoff of Constitution Week, and 319 days to this nation's 250th anniversary. In anticipation of Constitution Day on September 17th, I'd like to read part of a speech made at the Constitutional Convention on June 28, 1787 by Benjamin Franklin, considered one of our least religious founding fathers. At the time, political agendas and factions divided the convention, and many were ready to leave in disgust. Dr. Franklin was the oldest man in the room at 81 and rarely spoke. When he rose, he said in part, "I have lived, sir, a long time, and the longer I live, the more convinced proofs I see of this truth, that God governs in the affairs of man. And if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, is it probable that an empire can rise without his aid? We have been assured, sir, in the sacred writings, that except the Lord build, they labor in vain that build it. I firmly believe this, and I also believe that without his concurring aid, we shall succeed in this political building no better than the builders of Babel. We shall be divided by our little, partial, local interests. Our projects will be confounded, and we ourselves shall become a reproach and a byword down to future ages. I therefore beg leave to move that henceforth prayers imploring the assistance of heaven and its blessings on our deliberations be held in this assembly every morning before we proceed to business, and that one or more of the clergy of this city be requested to officiate in that service." The speech in its entirety included 14 biblical passages or references, all done by memory by Dr. Franklin. Even one of our least religious founding fathers knew that the only way for our leaders to come to agreement and build anything, including this nation or a school, was to first humble themselves before God. Benjamin Rush, a signer of the Declaration and considered the founder or the father of public education under the Constitution, and a founder of one of the first abolitionist societies, said that the purpose of public education was to teach children how to love and serve God, how to love and serve their country, and how to love and serve their family. Basically, to make good, honest, moral citizens. That's why public education was deemed mandatory for each community, and that is the true history and tradition of American schools.
Superintendent's report.
Our good news on our website today, we have our updated 504 policies handbook, and that was done after an extended period of time without any change. The 504 policies handbook has been updated. The digital version of the handbook is available on our website, and every parent or guardian will receive a physical copy of the updated handbook at 504 meetings for their children. And thank everyone for Stuff the Bus campaign wrap up. From July the 16th through August the 11th, Transylvania County Schools partnered with the Transylvania Education Foundation to participate in the 2025 Stuff the Bus campaign. During the campaign, a Transylvania County school bus was parked at different locations in the county. Our big-hearted community members stuffed the bus with school supplies necessary for our students to experience a productive school year. We'd like to thank everyone for those donations. Additionally, we want to thank Save More, Carolina Smiles, Walmart, Bronze 828, and Coniston Falls Realty for their generosity in hosting the bus at their locations. And I'd like to thank Ms. Owen because she was instrumental in making that happen from my little idea. And I believe that those supplies are going to be available at open house nights at the schools for anyone who needs them.
Yes, ma'am. They were picked up today by social workers and ready to go for Meet the Teacher.
So if you need school supplies, they'll be there at the Meet the Teacher.
We have our important dates.
So tomorrow morning, from 7:30 till 10, we have the school convocation. And I know some of you usually attend that, and it's really good because you're like cheerleaders for our staff, and it's a really fun time. So if you have time to come out in the morning, and to me, the best part is the schools walking in because it's like their own pep rally for each other, but their school spirit. But at the end, when they leave, usually the band is playing, there's community members out there with posters and signs, and it's just a really good time. And it's always needed right before the teachers start back with students. So thank everyone for that, and if you can come tomorrow, please come. The 21st is Brevard High School freshman orientation, and also their back to school bash. Also on August the 21st, Brevard Elementary's playgrounds. We're going to have a celebration, sort of like a ribbon cutting for the playground. We're excited about that. It's also Brevard Elementary School's Meet the Teacher Night. On the 21st is also Rosman Elementary's Meet the Teacher Night, and also Pisgah Forest Meet the Teacher Night, and Rosman High School Open House. So it will be hard to make it to each one this time, but if you're able to attend one of those, that would be something also to attend. And then on Monday, next Monday, is the first day of school for the students for the 25-26 school year.
At this time, we need to go into closed session. So we need a motion to move into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11A1 for the disclosure of confidential information, and A3 to consult with an attorney.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, this time I need a motion to approve the resolution discussed in closed session.
I make a motion that we accept the resolution.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. So that carries. Okay. So the board has completed Dr. Fletcher's annual evaluation, and she has continued to be a great asset to our school system. We're so grateful to have her, and this is the time that we can amend her contract to reflect the work that she's done and continues to do for our schools. Based on that, the board has proposed a contract amendment for approval here, which will extend Dr. Fletcher's contract by a year, provide her 10 days of leave, additional leave, and increase her pay to $136,392. Dr. Fletcher has seen our district through many difficulties in her time here and has provided steadfast leadership through it all. She is so deserving of this, and we look forward to continue working with her. Now I need a motion to approve this amendment.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So it carries, and thank you, Dr. Fletcher, for everything that you have done and continue to do. We appreciate you. So,
Motion to adjourn.
make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
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 All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.